Hi guys, you're welcome once again to day 3 of the Start Your Podcast Challenge, proudly hosted by the ambassadors of Kinaland. Today we are going to be talking about the equipment and softwares you need as a new podcaster. Now, some of these things we are going to be mentioning actually fall under the category of wants, but when you explore them, or there are times that you finally decide which would work better for you and which would not. Of course, there are hardware and software tools that would help you on your journey as a podcaster, and let's just begin with the hardware. So, based on the hardware tools you need, of course, you need a recording device. For a start, it would be your phone and a very strong set of earpiece or mouthpiece or any recording mic. Also, you need to know that most of these mics are varying qualities. So if you see some that's worth a particular amount, you see others that are worth a particular amount, they have different functions. In fact, there are some usual ear or mouthpieces that give you more qualitative or more quality audio output than certain mics, but the benefit of those mics is the fact that they offer you a leverage on distance between your recording device and the mic itself. What do I mean? If, for example, you want to make your podcast into a visual format, where people see you and your host and your guest rather talking about whatever you're talking about on the podcast, and you're using your phone and mics, you might need some sort of distance between yourselves and the phone. So a mic would really help there, a lapel mic, a cordless mic, a wireless mic, whatever it is. Earpiece can still be used if it's just you and your phone and it's not a video. You could just record, and a very good ear or mouthpiece can help you filter out background noise as much as possible. Now, another hardware, still talking about hardware, if you have more resources to start on a better level than just your phone and your mouthpiece, which I would strongly recommend. I strongly recommend you start with something very simple, as I always emphasize, so that before you scale or before you get it on to the next level, you've had some sort of experience going on together. So if you have enough resources and you probably can employ someone who is like a production expert, then you don't really need to start at this very, very basic level. So you can decide to go to a production studio, or you could get some podcast mics at home. These mics that come with some sort of foams which helps to denoise your audio as much as possible. Those work better in hardware. So let's quickly go into software. Now, the software you need to get your podcast running. Now, these softwares could be classified into the ones you need for your branding, for your designing the cover of your brand, of the brand of your podcast rather. Softwares for actually filtering your noise, softwares for editing, whether it's visual or audio content. There are points where you might need to edit. Maybe there were points in your audio where there were some hiccups, where there was really an obvious break in the flow of whatever you were saying. You might need to cut it out. So with all of this, you need softwares. So in the aspect of recording your audios, podcast.adobe does a lot of great work there. Also, CapCut does a lot of great work there. Before I go to CapCut, let me dwell a bit on the pros and cons of podcast.adobe. Podcast.adobe offers you a very, very seamless process. What you do is just upload your audio to the site, and then it automatically filters through. It's an AI tool, and it gives you back an audio, so you don't even have to lift a finger. You just have to tap your finger on your device, maybe your phone or your laptop, to upload the audio, and then to download the filtered and the enhanced version of your audio. Now, the advantage is that it's so easy, and even a beginner can use it. You could try to check it out right now. Just upload a very simple audio, you download it, and it makes a whole lot of difference. So the thing about podcast.adobe is that it is better for you to use a laptop to edit whatever you want to edit to the audio, because using a phone, could be slow and takes a longer time than using a laptop. But one of the major things that I think Adobe needs to work on is that there's a tendency to cut out the real audio. There's a tendency to cut out certain syllables in such a way that it doesn't sound coherent. So that's really my basic issue with my major rather issue with podcast Adobe. Adobe. Another thing about podcast Adobe is that the longer the audio, the longer it takes to enhance itself. So that's something you might want to consider. Another thing you might want to consider is the Audacity software. So the second tool that could work for you as a podcaster is Audacity. Audacity is a computer software, works only on computer, it's not phone compatible. So the idea behind Audacity is that you can get to select a noise sample and you can order the software to eliminate every form of that sample throughout the audio. So let me put it into context. If I want to start recording an audio now, when I tap on the record button, that's on my phone or whatever recording device I'm using. When I tap on my recording device and start recording, I'll first keep quiet for a bit, for let's say 10 seconds. I would allow the average environmental noise to seep in through the audio, so that by the time I am done and I take it to the software, I would select that first 10 seconds and give a command for every form of that noise throughout the audio to be eliminated. That way the regular background noise that would have still seeped its way into the phone, especially if I wasn't in an area that is less noisy, can actually that can all be sorted out. Another beautiful thing about using this method is that the regular airwaves that tend to steal their way into our audios can be totally eliminated, leaving just your voice and giving that crispy effect for your audios. Audacity is free. Last I checked, Audacity is still very, very free. So that is that about Audacity. Now, that's still on editing your audio and recording and enhancing your audio. One more app on that is CapCut. Most people know CapCut to be a video related app, a video editing app. But if you plan to probably place your podcast audio on an image or on a voiceover, you can use CapCut to select that audio and denoise it automatically. That feature is there on the app. I'm really sorry that these podcast series are not on video format. I would have been able to show you some of these things as I am doing them. Really sorry about that, but they are so simple to get along, so you can try that out. Now, let me quickly talk about the tools you need for hosting, the tools you might want to consider. We'll still talk about all of this in better context. First is YouTube, especially because of the monetization part of it. We'll talk about monetization later on too in the coming days. YouTube, when you want to upload or you want to create a new post on YouTube, it asks you if it's going to be a video or a podcast or a series. So there is a tab there for new podcast. You understand? So there's a tab there, so you can host your podcast on YouTube, whether it's in visual format or it's in audio format. Another tool you need in terms of hosting is Anchor. You can check out Anchor. You can check out Spotify also. And very, very unbelievably, I just discovered this recently. I don't know how long it has been out there, but I discovered it recently. Substack. So usually Substack is a platform for people who want to, create newsletters or start having newsletters. But I personally discovered that podcasts can also be hosted on Substack. So there is a way you can convert your newsletters to podcasts. You can record audio notes that your followers get to listen to, get to hear, get to engage with, and you'll be able to track the metrics. That's something that's so beautiful. And yes, in fact, all of these platforms actually have a way of helping you to track the traffic around your podcast. So that makes it easier for you to know what bullets to shoot, what bullets to not shoot, what arrows to fire. By that I mean what areas of your content were really more engaged, so that number one, it helps you to serve more engaged content while still maintaining your balance. Because the truth is, some aspects of your content that you really wish to be that you really wish to push out rather, might not be engaged as well as you believed it would be. But if you are always just following what the audience is saying, you might lose yourself in the process. So these track records actually help you to achieve balance. There are some audios or some contents that gather so many comments, while some actually gather so many shares, especially depending on the line of conversation or the intent of the content in question, the kind of call to action it subconsciously gives to the listener. So those are the things that you want to consider. All right, the truth is that there are many tips and tools, rather. There are many tools out there that I am sure that there would even still be some more. So it might be up to you to explore. However, don't really stress yourself with trying to find the most perfect of all tools, especially if you have a good control over most of these ones I mentioned, then you are good to go. Now, when you're trying to record, taking it back a bit to when you are trying to record your content, if you are using mouthpiece or what have you, you don't want to get it too close to your mouth. You don't want to put it too close to your mouth. This is because when we talk as humans, hair automatically comes out. Like there's nothing that can be done about that. That is why you so you need to get it just midway between your, let's say, your chest area and your mouth, so that the words you are saying gets directly to your mouthpiece before any other thing gets to it, like airways and all. At the same time, you don't want your mouth to be the outlet for much more air to get into your audio. So you might just want to place it midway so that you don't you could try it out. You could pause this video and try it out to see what I'm talking about. Another thing to note when recording your audios is that you want to name them. You want to name them, especially if you want to batch content, so that you don't get confused in the process. There are times when you actually have to make a lot of takes. You need to probably break the audio down. There are times when you need to take a pause, you need to take a break. So if you don't name your files, I mean, these things are basic enough, but then it tends to escape the mind so many times. So let's try to consider this, and that shouldn't be a problem. All right, thank you so much for joining us on day 3 of the Start Your Podcast Challenge. I'm looking forward to what your podcasts are going to be like, especially the first episodes and all the artwork that you are bringing around it. So tomorrow we are going to talk about how to use the simple tool Canva to design artworks and a brand identity for your podcast. Of course, that's going to be practical. You are going to be seeing everything I'm going to be doing, so you don't need to worry about that. Thank you once again for joining us. God bless you.